Hi everyone. Before you submit your first essay, please make sure you take a look at this video. So by now you've had a chance to read my feedback on your outlines. I really focused on the thesis. I skimmed your entire outline, but I really focused on the thesis since that's the most important sentence of your entire essay. So make sure you read that feedback, of course. And then you've also posted a draft. A couple of paragraphs, even if they were very rough, you posted those, and now you're working on responding to a classmate's draft. So if you're having trouble with that, please let me know. Remember, you go to the assignment where you posted the draft, you click peer review, and you can see who your assigned partner is. If you can't see your assigned partner, that might mean that you did not submit your own draft. You're only assigned one if you submitted a draft, or email me and I can tell you who your assigned partner is, or look at that video in the peer edit assignment. It shows you how to navigate peer edits on Canvas. So please make sure you look at and at least consider your peer editor's feedback. And you can always ask me if your peer editor said something like you don't have a topic sentence, or your support in your second paragraph isn't specific enough, but you're not really sure. You can always talk to me in office hours or send me an email. A couple of points about the first essays. These were some common things that I noticed for the outlines for the essay, just some kind of common notes, things that I found myself writing down a lot as I read through your outlines. Make sure that your thesis is a debatable argument, a debatable claim, and that you're not just summarizing the article. So what some students would do is they would just include what Charles Murray had to say about the value of college, or what Owens and Sawhill have to say about ROI, or what Unger says about certain misperceptions about the liberal arts. And it wasn't clear if you were summarizing what the writer has said or if you were making your own argument. If you're agreeing with one of the authors, that's great, but you need to make that clear. And you can use some of the templates from last week's modules that show you how to agree, but also add some of your own examples, or how to disagree, or how to agree with one part of their argument but disagree with another part of the argument. So remember that I need to see that you are taking a stance. I want to know what you have to say on the issue. If you're agreeing with the writer, let's say you're going to agree with Unger, with Sanford Unger, that actually the liberal arts can be a great thing to study, especially if you want to go into STEM fields, because the liberal arts includes many of the STEM majors. If you're agreeing with the writer, that's great, but you want to go beyond just parroting what the writer already said. You want to extend the argument somehow. Now that might mean you add additional reasons. Some of your reasons might be the same, but maybe you add some of your own reasons that, say, Unger didn't discuss in his essay. Maybe you add a counter argument to make it more debatable. Maybe you add the so what, or the significance of the argument, or even some solutions if you see that there's some sort of problem, or if you're addressing some sort of problem, you could add the solutions. And for more ideas, you can go back to some of the thesis lectures from week 2 for how to turn an okay thesis into a really stellar thesis. So if you're agreeing, think yes and extend that argument, and go back to those videos on agreeing and disagreeing, in which I include some templates that you can use. A lot of the best essays seem to focus on a specific part of the article, so don't feel like you have to respond to the entire article. You don't have to respond to all of Charles Murray's essay. Instead, you might respond just to what he says about libraries and how we don't really need physical brick and mortar libraries, which means that the traditional college campus might be obsolete in some ways. So you're welcome to focus on something smaller. If you find yourself writing a 10-page essay, you might want to narrow it down a little bit. Some students, based on the outline, it seemed to me, some students were forgetting to include their own examples. Remember, for this essay, you can and you really should use personal examples. For other essays, you won't be allowed to use personal examples. They'll be much more text-based or research-based. But for this essay, you are a college student, right? You have familiarity with this. You're an expert in many ways. So you're encouraged to use personal examples. This also helps to make sure that you're not just summarizing or rehashing what the writer you're responding to has already said. You're adding something to it, right? You're adding to the conversation. Think back to the name of our textbook, They Say, I Say, right? You're adding something to the conversation, not simply agreeing or disagreeing, but extending the argument, adding to the argument. And also remember that you have to have 3 quotations, at least 3 quotations from that one article that you're selecting, that you are responding to. 3 quotations, and do make sure that they are integrated and cited. I want to see that you know how to integrate a quote. I want to see that you know how to do a parenthetical citation. And then of course, I want to see that you have a works cited page at the end. If some of those terms are a little fuzzy, please go back to last week's module. There's a sample works cited page. There's a lecture on how to integrate quotes. So all of that information is available to you in last week's modules. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Please make sure you look at my feedback and your peer reviewers' feedback, and I look forward to reading your essays. One final comment, remember the essay due date and the open until date, those dates are different. The due date is when it's due. Open until is the date where the assignment closes. So I leave assignments open for a week after the deadline in case you want to use your free late pass or in case you're submitting it late for a slight grade deduction. Okay, talk to you later.